My name is Patricia Muir. I'm your host, and I have remastered my life several times, my business included. So today I embrace a blend of working styles that includes empowering women and professionals and women business owners to thrive in their personal and their professional lives. Executive Encore is a program where I merge personal stories and practical wisdom to prepare for finding fulfillment as you remaster your life and work. In today's episode, we will be exploring the challenges that continue to be experienced by women in all phases of life and work, especially in the workplace. We will be talking about empowering bonds and elevating women's wellness and wealth. I'm delighted to introduce my guest today, Katie O'Malley. Katie is a Katie is a female entrepreneur with expertise providing career coaching, leadership development, and workplace consulting to individuals and companies spanning the US, the UK, and we hope that she's going to be coming to Canada. Katie explained to me that she's been on the West Coast, she's been in Vancouver and Vancouver Island, so I'm encouraging her to come further east so that sometime she'll see the whole country. Since launching her company, Encourage Coaching, in 2018, Katie has been on a mission to elevate more women and people of color and the LGBTQ individuals to the rooms where decisions are made. It's one thing for us to be inclusive, but to be able to make those decisions or be in those rooms where decisions are made, that's where we're elevating our participation and our power of community.
Mhm.
True workplace joy and justice remain elusive until we all get together. All these groups are represented at the highest organizational levels. And that's what Katie's going to be talking to us about today. Katie's expertise on elevating women's workplace wellness and wealth comes from her experience serving nonprofit, corporate, and education sectors. Hello, how are you?
Oh,
Katie, it's so
Patricia,
nice to
what
have
an
you.
introduction. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. It's great to have you. And just want to remind people that if they're watching YouTube, watching this on YouTube, please put your thoughts and questions into the comments. Katie and I will be very happy to connect with you and get in a conversation with you about what we're talking about today. And we ask that you also subscribe because that's how this message is going to get to your colleagues and to your friends and to your family and out into the wider communities. So, with that said, Katie, I'd like to ask you one thing about through the lens of wellness and community, what have you experienced or what have you observed as being unique and persistent challenges faced by women in the workplace?
Yeah, so I love this question, and what I've both observed and read in the research is fivefold. So there's five main persistent challenges that women face when trying to build community at work, within their field, within an industry. And part of the reason, Patricia, community is so important, especially for women, is that a rising tide lifts all boats, right? And the boat that I have may be different than the boat that you have, or one of our other colleagues, or one of your other listeners. But at the end of the day, if I'm winning, Patricia's winning too. And we have to start thinking about it that way, more as a win for all of us instead of just a zero-sum game where if Patricia gets a leadership role, then everybody else in terms of the women in that community lose. Because right now, what we know about work is that people want to feel two things when they go into an office or when they sign on to Microsoft Teams. They want to feel competent in what they're doing, but they also want to feel a sense of community and sense of belonging while they're doing it. And this is fraught for women, and it's fraught for five main reasons. And as we're going through this, I think it's important to note that the challenges I'm naming, we as women are not immune from engaging in these behaviors and practices that are actually holding us down from being able to create community with each other, but also across the gender spectrum in the workplace. So A lot of the research I'm going to share is actually the result of work done by Dr. Herminia Ibarra out of Harvard Business School. And one of the first things that she names is this idea of the double bind. And the double bind, if Patricia, I'm not sure if you saw the Barbie movie.
No, I didn't, but I saw a lot of people enjoying it.
Yes.
Fathers included. I saw
Yes,
a lot of
fathers
fathers.
included. For those of you who did see it, right? At one point in the movie, America Ferrera goes on this monologue, right? Shares this monologue about the challenges of being a woman. So you have to be thin, but don't be too thin. You have to smile, but don't smile too much. Have a job and earn money, but don't earn too much money, right? And when we think about the double bind at work, it's the same sort of thing. So, for example, what this might look like is a woman is interviewing for a position, right? She's recently married, looks to be of childbearing age. And the question then becomes, oh my gosh, if we hire this person, when might she step out of the workforce to have a child and then leave us with an open role? Similarly, if I were interviewing for that job, I would have shared that I'm someone who is child free by choice, which then one would say, oh, it alleviates then that concern that Katie is going to exit the workforce to then leave this open role to have a child. Instead, that's the wrong answer too, because then it's what is wrong with Katie that she is not complying with the gender norm set forth for her? Is she not motherly? Is she not
Oh,
kind? Does she not care about children? And so the reason it's a double bind is that the choice to have a child is going to set you back. The choice to not have a child is going to set you back.
mhm,
And
mhm,
that's just one of many
mhm.
examples, right? Being told if you're in a room, you have to use your voice. And then we use our voice and we're told we're being too aggressive. And so that's the double bind. And we as women, we can project this onto other women just as easily as men can. So being sure that we have this that this bias is forefront in our minds as well, because we've all been socialized
Right.
in the same society. The second thing that holds women back from forming community is something that we talked about right at the beginning. So this idea that there can be only one woman in a room at the top. There's only space for one of us. There's only a chair for one of us. And then we become competitive with each other instead of doing what we need to do and what we actually get rewarded for doing because it aligns with the gender norm of who we are, which is lifting people up, supporting people, caring for people. And so anytime you see one of your female colleagues up for a promotion or that you believe deserves a promotion to the next table or to the next seat, I encourage you to sing this person's praises and to recognize them at every opportunity, because what that's going to do is create a sense of reciprocity for when it's your turn. You modeled that for someone else to do for you.
Mhm.
The other notion of this idea of the only one, because it cuts in two directions. So the first one, where there's only one chair, one seat at the table available. The other way that this gets interpreted is I'm the only one experiencing this. This isn't about me being a woman. This is a problem with me, Katie, an individual, because we don't have community to be able to talk about it and to talk about the reality of it. And so this is where I want you to start talking to folks, whether it's the challenges that you're experiencing with perimenopause or menopause, the challenges that you're experiencing with potentially covert sexual harassment or sexual discrimination or gender discrimination. If we don't talk about it, we'll continue to believe that we are the only one and we can't fight a fight against a system by ourselves, right? And so this is actually, you can think of it as an opportunity to build community whenever you feel like you're the only one. Have that cue to say, let me go talk to somebody else about this, right? So I can disprove that I am the only one experiencing this. The third piece, and this comes out of research from the folks at the Work Human Company, is that women experience a dearth of recognition in the workplace, and not just from their male counterparts and their male supervisors, but actually from other women. And so, what the research showed is that women are more likely to recognize a male peer than they are to recognize a female peer. Like, we're doing this to ourselves. And so, anytime you have the opportunity to recognize another woman on your team, in your organization, in your community, do it. Even if it's for just getting the job done, because here's why. Men get promoted into roles based upon their potential. Women get promoted into roles based upon what they can prove. And so, if we have people around us tossing up those proof points, it makes it easier for us to say, oh, yeah, I did that and it was recognized by Patricia, right? And so, being able to give that recognition verbally, non-verbally, whether it's in written form on Slack, nominating someone for an award, there the opportunities are endless. The fourth is something that's kind of like the thread that pulls through all of this, which is gender normed behaviors. So over the summer, I was taking a course at the Barcelona School of Economics and Labor Economics, and one of the modules was on the impact of gender on the labor market. And when the class started out, the professor said, and I nearly walked out, Patricia, because I was like, what am I even going to learn if this is how she's starting the module?
Yeah.
She said, gender discrimination is not what is holding women back in the workplace. And my jaw dropped. I saw a lot of the jaws of my peers on the ground. And by the time we got to the end of the week, what she revealed was it's not overt gender discrimination. It's the idea of what being a woman is. And if we don't align with that, that is what we face consequences for and punishments for. And so the way forward is twofold, right? First, how do we engage in strategies that allow us to move forward as we're aligning with that norm? But how do we also start to deconstruct that norm as unhelpful and something that gets put into the spotlight to say, are we actually promoting this woman based upon her potential too? If a man gets to be promoted on his potential, why is the woman not being promoted on her potential? Why is there that difference there? But this also gets to the piece around recognition, where as women, if we advocate for ourselves, if we toot our own horn and sing our own praises, we get punished for that because it's a very masculine thing to do. I put that in air quotes for folks who are listening and not watching on YouTube. Versus if we were to advocate for and recognize another woman on our team and our organization, we're going to get rewarded for that because it aligns with how people believe women should behave, which is in this more supportive and caring role. And so one of my favorite books on the market is called Feminist Fight Club by Jessica Bennett. It gives some great tactics and operationalizes a lot of what I've just talked about to give you ideas on how to do this at work. Now, the last thing, and this comes up all the time, is imposter syndrome. And I don't know if this has made it to Netflix Canada, but the Martha Stewart documentary,
Yes, it
uh,
has. Yes, it has.
my goodness, I mean, talk about remastering your life
Life.
and the way Martha was able to do that for herself after what happened to her, which was all based on someone not liking that a female became a self-made billionaire. And there was a lot of unfair practices that went into kind of her quote takedown, but that's a whole nother conversation. She did
Thank
an
you for sharing
interview.
that, though. I think that
Yeah,
would be very important to follow up by and watch that Netflix program. Yeah.
yeah, please. And since then, she's been doing a lot of promotional tours and interviews. And she got asked a question recently, Martha, have you ever dealt with imposter syndrome? And how did you go about dealing with it? And she just laughed and said, no, I've never had imposter syndrome. And the reason is it's a made up thing.
Thank you for that. I
Yes,
agree. I agree. It's another one of those things, another message that has been put out to women to make them feel less than and not to trust themselves. How can you be an imposter if you are being yourself?
exactly. Exactly. And that's where every time I get on a coaching exploration call with a client, 9 times out of 10, regardless of gender, imposter syndrome comes up. And for me, it's just this invented phrase to help keep people in their place with the level of power that they have. And so anytime that you experience that, because you're allowed to have the feeling, right? Like, ooh, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I don't belong. You can have that feeling, but you can't act in accordance with that feeling. And so I want you to ask yourself, when that feeling arises, who benefits from me not feeling like I don't belong? Who benefits from me not feeling good enough or like I don't have the skills or knowledge to be here? And the truth is, the only people that benefit are the people who are in power. You will never benefit from feeling this way. There is no silver lining to imposter syndrome. So I encourage you instead to say, here's why I'm here. Here's what I bring to the table. And if I'm not going to get rewarded for that here, I know that there will be another team, company, or organization that will reward this
Love
for
that.
me.
That. And I want to point out that phrase as well that's gone around the last couple of years is I'm good enough. Good enough? Just enough? I am better than good when I'm performing well, right?
Mhm,
And I
mhm.
think that's the message that needs to be put out there. Not that, oh, I might be an imposter, or that's what I'm suffering from, or I should just say to myself, I'm good enough. I don't want to be just good enough. I want to be beyond that. And that's what we're going for, right? So thank you for bringing that. I know you've got some other things to share, so I'm going to allow you to go ahead.
Oh, no, these were the top five things around women and barriers to community.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the time that we have left, I'd like you to share a little more um, about your career in leadership coaching, especially the program that you have. It's your favorite program, right? The Lego Serious Play. Tell us a little more about that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So Lego Serious Play is a methodology I got introduced to just about 2 years ago. And it was on the heels of me leaving my full-time role at the University of Chicago Booth School of Business to go full-time into my coaching practice. And I had a former colleague say she had gotten trained up in this, and I was somewhat dubious because I'm like, Legos, play, we are serious people
Yeah.
solving serious problems. What are you talking about? And she's like, Katie, no, our Chicago Booth students, these MBA students love it. And I was like, okay, well, they love it. They're going to be some of our future business leaders. Maybe there's something here. In the same month, I met another woman who I really grew to respect. And she was all about Lego Serious Play. And so part of this is, are we just being open to the messages and invitations the universe is giving us?
Mhm.
And I said, all right, let me get trained up in this. Let me see how I can bring this to work with my individual clients and teams and with organizational cultures. And the Lego Serious Play methodology actually resulted from Lego trying to prevent itself from going bankrupt in the 90s. So Lego is a family-owned company, still is. And a lot of family-owned companies experience challenges around trust, hierarchy, leadership, the way things get done. And they were just really stagnant in the 90s. Kids weren't excited about Legos, so parents weren't buying Legos. And they said, we have to solve the problem of our product. Why don't we use our product to solve the challenges of our product not selling? And the whole idea was everybody builds, everybody shares. And what they discerned was that people weren't sharing because there was low trust at Lego. Is someone going to steal my idea if I share it? Is someone going to fire me for my idea if I share it? Is someone going to laugh at me for my idea if I share it? And part of that is just who we are as humans. Our ideas get so inextricably tied to our identity that if we share an idea and someone doesn't like it, well, then they don't like us. However, if we can externalize the idea and build the idea, then a couple of things happen, right? If someone doesn't like what I've built, then they don't like the stack of bricks, right? But also, I don't know about you, Patricia, but it can be stressful to share an idea, especially if you're sitting with decision makers, stakeholders, leaders in an organization, and we can lose key parts of the idea that make it magical
Mhm.
and make it what it is. And so when you've built it out and you have to explain why you chose the blocks you chose and the colors that you chose and what everything represents, you're never going to miss sharing the parts of your idea that make it so innovative and make it so magical. So Lego Serious Play can be used in two ways. One for team building around trust and collaboration. And this is where we're really getting to know our colleagues on a deeper level through play. And then the other way is to really use it for strategy and for solving challenges. And when we're using it in that way, the element that I love so much is we are not looking to select the best build or the best model or the best idea. We are looking to say what is right with so many of the ideas at this table and how do we start breaking off pieces because it's Legos, right? To
Mhm,
make
mhm.
something that wouldn't have existed if we hadn't done this together in the first place. And that was what Lego discovered at the end, because what do we have now? We have Lego movies and Lego franchises and Lego kits selling for $500 a piece,
Yeah,
with lines out the door at FAO Schwartz. It's just incredible. And so it's great for innovation, but also for building trust and collaboration. And all participants have said I was skeptical, and this might be the most fun and memorable training that I've ever done around my team development, leadership development, and strategy.
that is amazing. That's amazing. So good on Lego. Good for
Yes,
them. Yeah.
yes.
What a story of remastering, reinventing. That's great. And in such a great way as well. So I wanted to ask you at what point in your life was there a pivotal point, like a memorable moment where you thought, I'm ready to recalibrate, reinvent, and remaster my life. Tell me about
There, yeah, there sure was. And, I think I could have happily gone along for the rest of my life working full-time at Chicago Booth Business School and having Encourage Coaching as my passion project, or side hustle, if you would. And it ended up that I was passed over for a promotion. And the reason I got passed over was because my coaching practice was cited as being too successful. So I was given a choice. You can give up your business and continue to grow here, or you can keep your business and know you've hit your ceiling. And I'm
that.
sitting there, Patricia, like I am a female entrepreneur that bootstrapped a business on the evenings and weekends that has been profitable since its first year. 30% of our students come to this school to be entrepreneurs, and you're telling me this is a bad thing and you want me to leave $60,000 a year on the table for a $10,000 pay bump and more stress. There isn't a professor, administrator, student walking the halls of this business school that would call that a fair choice. This is a false choice. Um, I also said, I don't have children. So instead of cultivating and growing a family and nurturing a family on the evenings and weekends, I'm cultivating, growing, and nurturing a business instead. And to pull the thread all the way through our conversation, that didn't align with gender norms, right? For who I'm
Right.
supposed to VP and again was punished for that. And so I said, I'm not giving up my business. So they gave the promotion to somebody else. And then I turned in my resignation the next day. And my boss said, I'm really surprised that you did this and you made this choice. And I'm like, that hurts me more than not getting the promotion because that means you don't know or understand what motivates me at all. And it's not the money, it's the opportunity to lead, it's the opportunity to have a vision and execute on that vision. And so, I said, I can't work somewhere where my potential is being limited by the people above me instead of being bolstered by the people above me. And I said, you know what, in 2023, if I wasn't able to make a solid go of this in 2022, I'll find another job. I'm a career coach. I can make that happen for
You can do
myself,
that.
right?
You could do
I
that.
can go back to working for somebody else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
wouldn't you know, Patricia, what you could do for a business when you can dedicate 40 to 50 hours a week to it, instead of just accepting referrals that come your way. And so the first year, I was able to double my salary from the university. In the second year, I doubled that gross income. And now I'm in the process of merging my business with another woman-owned business. And we're on track to be $1 million business in
Wow.
2025. We came in just under this year, but it's really exciting and talking about the power of community. Yeah, we can get pretty far on our own, but we can only get so far. And that's when you need your squad.
And what a great case study for a college, a business college, right? So
Mhm.
maybe you will be a good case study for them at some point. That's
Perhaps.
surprising. So you really did demonstrate that double bind that you talked about. Is there
Yeah.
anything else, Katie? I do want to ask you to, if you have a call to action, what would that be? And then we'll start to wrap up.
Yeah, I think the call to action is visit the website, book in some time with me and see how I can be of support and service, whether to you as an individual or to your team or to your organization.
Very good. I know a lot of people will be interested in the Lego.
I
So
hope.
those are those senior executives that are still working for corporations. They'll be very excited about that. So I do want to let our listeners and our audience know that all the information to contact Katie will be in the show notes, so you don't have to write anything down. And I want to invite everyone to visit my website as well, read the blog. I will be preparing a blog this week based on what Katie has kindly participated and gave information on today, like the stories. And then on December 1st, first thing Sunday morning at 7 o'clock, if you're on the newsletter list, you will receive a newsletter where, again, Katie will be featured. The video will be there, and you'll be able to sit, have a nice cup of coffee or tea, whatever it is, some comfort food, and read and watch. So thank you very much. My last words are take care of yourself, okay? Do what's best for you, which Katie has shown that by being given some amazing choices, and she chose what was best for her. And don't jeopardize what you've built for yourself. So thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.